See you later.
Blog Talk Radio.
Lewis! 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 Mom! 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 Mommy! 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 Mama! 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 Ma! 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 Mum! 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 Mummy! Mummy! Mama! Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
The all-new Panic Room radio show is brought to you by hellboundbooks.com.
And it is Thursday night, 9:30 Central. Other times and other time zones, I don't really understand yet. Episode 32 of the new Panic Room. And welcome, listener. That was Booker T and the MGs with Green Onions, one of my all-time favourites of all time. The jolly sort of foot-tapping type tune that is. Hopefully everyone is fit and well this evening and managing to dodge the killer flu that is sweeping the nation at the moment. It's everybody literally. Xtina, bless her, was suffering badly from it last week. Everybody I speak to, even people like in Florida, have got this bloody flu. I touch a lot of wood, cross fingers, etc. I managed to dodge it so far, but I think it's only a matter of time. To be honest, it'll get me and it'll knock me flat. So I'm prepared for that. So, anywho, we have I think we've got a show. I've organised nothing. to be honest. That's Xtina's job. If she can tear herself away from the booze, hopefully she's with us. Good evening, my dear. How are you? Hey.
I'm good. I'm actually making up for all the time I was like really sick and I couldn't drink. So I'm on.
Oh well, that is. Do you know? I thought when I'm sick, when I have the cold or flu or whatever, especially when I've got a rough throat, I buy the cheapest, nastiest, cheap shit brandy I can find. You know, the stuff that the vagrants won't touch. And I'll sip on that, and it is better than any cough or throat medicine. It's great, and if you drink enough of it, you know, you still feel like crap, but you don't care quite as much. It's great, but it's brilliant on the throat. I mean, the alcohol can actually help kill the germs as well. And many years ago, I swear, again, it could have been, I don't know, psychosomatic. I could swear I once drank myself well. I was coming down with a cold. I used to suffer very badly with, you know, it always used to hit my throat. Whenever I got cold, hit my throat. Yeah. Yeah. And I went out with a friend of mine, and we drank, and we had from whiskey and whatever. And once I cleared the hangover the next day, the cold had gone. I think I killed it.
Bad.
Those poor little cold germs. I think I killed them with alcohol. You know, it's so kind of proud of it. So there you go. If you're suffering, just get out of your head for a night.
Drink it away. Just drink it away.
Drink it away. There you go. So how have you been apart from not so well? How have you been this past week?
Well, you know, not too bad. I was pretty much recovering. So I'm feeling so much better than I was last week, though. I just have this.
That's because you were miserable. You were miserable last week, to be honest.
I was.
You were miserable. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm much
spoiled
better
everything.
Time, but you know, it's funny. I was telling you this though, but because of how sick everybody's been, they canceled school at my kid's school for today and tomorrow, and then he's got Monday off as well. So, you know, he was out all last week because he was actually like we were both just dying. We were so sick.
That right there, dear listeners, is exactly how you ended up with Donald Trump as president. That's why. That's the reason.
Yeah,
It's just a nation of pussies. That's why. And hey, speaking
really.
of which.
Grab him by the pussy.
And you know, that never gets old, does it? It never gets old.
I love it when the president drops by.
Thank you, Commander-in-Chief. Oh, always a pleasure. Hey, my son, he's been to a band thing. Not a band thing, a band thing with his school band, and he's come back. They're doing a fundraiser, a mega game night next week, and now either his band teacher who's written the flyer out is either very naive or incredibly clever, and they have to pay $25 obviously to raise money for the band, etc., for trips and whatnot. And they have to bring, you know, they ask the students to bring something in. And the girls can bring a sweet treat. The guys bring a salty treat. Oh my
God! Oh, that's so bad.
me and my boy had a giggle about that. Either he didn't realise what he was writing, or he did. I mean, so my son he'll be getting his salty treat out to the other students next Friday. So we should look forward to that court case.
Oh God, yeah.
I had to share. That was just it tickled me. It was just funny. I mean, it's funny because we get. I mean, I guess with the job I'm in, you know, I pick up on spelling errors, typos, etc., grammatical errors. The shite that comes from his school is appalling. These people teach our children.
Oh, that's sad. That's really
literally,
sad.
and I just want to put rings around it and put "see me" in the margin because it's just terrible. Some of it is just, you know, and the odd time, you know, we all, but it's consistent. It's like the your thing, you know, and they will do it again and again and again, you know. And the worst, I think, my little girl, she had a teacher last year who was African American teacher, great lady, but my little girl will say axe. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Don't say that. I've beaten that out of her now, but don't say that. It's just really. But you know, the grammatical errors that come from the schools here is just nightmarish. But again, you know, it's reasons. Those are the reasons why you got Donald Trump as a president.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, it's very sad.
You know,
I don't know what.
You know, and it is. Anywho, do we have a show? We say, am I just going to waffle on for an hour and a half? Do we actually have anything going on tonight?
We do, yes.
Go on, well, do tell. I have no idea what's going on tonight.
That's not funny. We have Kay Webster with us tonight, and we have, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Cassia Brightmore. I think it's Cassia.
I'm sure she'll let you know.
Yeah, she will.
Cassia. It could be Cassia.
It could be. I guess. Yeah.
I have no idea. You know, you always pick. You do. You've done it again. I mean,
and that's why you make me say it then, huh?
Either people who, exactly. Yeah, I was getting my own back. Either people whose first name is just one letter. I mean, what were their parents thinking? Really? It's lazy. To be honest, it's lazy. Or a name that I can't pronounce. You know, I'm foreign. You know, I'm foreign.
I know. I do it on purpose now. I try to look for the strangest names just for you.
You do. I bet you do. You do. The independent authors are the weirdest, most least pronounceable names. Oh, we'll have him stroke her. Cool. That's what it is.
That's
racist.
That's for all your alcoholic comments to me.
It's racist.
Giving it back to you. Yeah. as I sip my wine.
Exactly. I don't have a drink problem. I have no problem drinking whatsoever.
No, I don't.
Well, I'm glad that you're back on the booze. I mean, it wouldn't be you otherwise.
I know. I opened it up tonight with dinner, and I took the first sip, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good."
Yeah. So was that with dinner or for dinner?
Kind of both. You know, I sat at the dinner table while people were eating food, and I poured my dinner, and it was delicious. It was delicious.
Do you know, there are some times, and it's sometimes after the show, actually, you know, I'm going to be a little bit hungry, and yet tired, and can't be bothered, so I'll just have a beer.
Yeah, no, by the time the show's over, I'm pretty much smashed, so.
Yeah, that'll do. Nice drop of beer. That'll do. So, hey, we hopefully we have Kay on AT&T Willing on the line. Are you there, Kay?
I'm here.
Yay! that dreaded pause. We get it every time. It's just toying with me. One of these days, it's just going to be like a half hour's silence while we wait for somebody to say something. So how are you this evening, Kay? Are you well?
I'm pretty good, except for you mispronounced Kay.
Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, do you know, had to have. Can I call you? K?
Yes. You can call me K.
So, is here to talk to us about her book, This Is War, Baby, which looks, it's pretty racist stuff, actually. I'm looking forward to the reading, to be quite honest. It's so, hey, yeah, tell us more. Oh, I've got to read the tagline. Do you want to read the tagline, Xtina? Or do you not have it?
I don't have it in front of me. You have it in front of you.
Do you know, Kay, she's useless. She really is. She's useless.
Hey.
The tagline: "The good guys always win, right? Not always." Nice,
I
nice,
do
nice,
have it in
nice.
front of
So,
me, but you said you
just
didn't really get
too
them.
late. You're too late. Too late. Don't bother. Just don't bother. So, Kate, tell us about This Is War, Baby. If you want to, if you don't, just say no.
No, I'll tell you about it. It's actually been out for a year now, but it was my first little dive into the darkness, and it just, I didn't just dabble in the darkness. I just totally dove in. So it's my first little dark baby, but it's basically a different spin on a kind of a typical story that seems to be out there, but I've done a totally different spin on it, and I think people didn't really expect that, and that's why they like it.
Awesome. So you say your first trip into darkness. So what did you write before this?
I wrote a lot of just contemporary, sweeter romance, paranormal romance, even some historical romance, and I'd always had this desire to, I like horror movies and scary stuff, and I wanted to write in, I love reading dark books, and I was just afraid maybe people wouldn't like it or whatever. I don't know, that it wouldn't be received well. And then one day I just thought, nope, I'm doing it. I'm tired of being afraid, and I did it, and people liked it.
Well, hey, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I must admit, I think it's a great moment as a writer when you write for yourself, and if people don't like this, then somebody. I mean, people will. I mean, it's people. Not everybody will like what you write, but people will. And I say if somebody doesn't like it, then they shouldn't be reading the book. Really, it's funny enough. I mean, I had my creature horror. Always wanted to write a creature horror. Wrote Peed, which came out last June with Black Bed Books, and it's about giant killer centipedes, obviously. And somebody actually wrote, it is better than it sounds, I promise. Somebody actually, I got a load of great reviews on Amazon. Somebody wrote that they got it, even though it says on the front, and I'll read it. On the front, it says, a skin-crawling, gut-wrenching, nerve-shredding, sexy roller coaster novel. Somebody wrote on Amazon that they were enjoying it, and then there was a sex scene and they didn't like it, so they put it down.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Seriously, yeah, seriously. You read the reviews on Amazon, and they gave it, I think, 2 stars, which was good. If they only, I mean, because the sex kicks in pretty much chapter 1 actually, so they didn't get far, but they were okay. They were okay reading about people getting ripped to shreds and eaten by killer creatures and that, but a little bit of sex. Oh God, I'm offended now. Exactly, for goodness sake.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
I mean, how do you feel? I mean, when you obviously, I mean, like I said, just reading through the excerpt here that you'll be reading for us shortly, Kay. I mean, how do you again? I'm trying not to ask this in a seedy way. How do you feel when you're writing, sex scenes? Is it something you enjoy, or is it a chore, or you're embarrassed by it? How does it make you feel?
No. It doesn't embarrass me, and it's not a chore. It's fun. It's fun for me. To me, that's the highlight. And a lot of times I have to make sure I don't hurry up and skip to the good parts when I'm writing, so I have to kind of pace myself, because otherwise I want to dive right into it.
Yeah. He walked down the road. He met a woman, and boom,
bam.
Just like the old Ron Jeremy films, You order a pizza with extra sausage.
Yeah. Pretty much, exactly.
Yes, I must admit, I was talking to Xtina earlier. I've been having a go at writing it's an erotic romantic horror. It's literally, I just wanted to tick all the boxes, see if I could do it. And I've literally finished the first draft today, and not another sex scene, for fuck's sake. I know. And I pretty much, because, every opportunity I wanted to put a sex scene in it, and I just got burned out. Not again. Really? This poor girl, she's going to be sore by the end of this book. And it was just,
but in a good way.
Well, I don't know. You haven't read the book. You haven't read it yet. But it's funny. I actually preferred writing the story bits to the set. I mean, the first, we're fine, but. And it's funny because I'm now sort of I've got a list of what am I going to write next, and I'm sorely tempted to write something that's neither horror or sex. I mean, just to have give my brain a break, without having to think how can I put a horror spin on this,
I remember we had a horror writer on the show a couple months ago, and he tickled me. I can't remember who it was, but he was saying how he wanted to write romance or erotica. He's like, and he said something about it would get strange right up until the first kill or something like that. And I was thinking, romance, the first kill. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to remember what that was because it really made me laugh because, the when we have the romance writers and erotica writers on, it's a lot different than having the horror guys. You talk about you got burnt out on the sex scenes, and then I have to admit a lot of times when I'm reading, especially if it's like dark erotica or something, there has been occasions where I do skip over the sex scenes if there's too many of them, and if they're not done differently, like if it's the same wording, the same phrases, stuff like that. It tends to get redundant, I think, after a while. But,
for sure.
So you got to keep it fresh.
Well, you just got to add a cucumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not talk salad, please. I was going to ask Kay. I mean, how do you keep it? Again, speaking of somebody who's trying it, how do you keep it fresh? Not the cucumber. Let's get away from salad and fruit-based items. How do you keep it from becoming redundant and stale? We're back on fruit again. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just very. I don't know. I have a colorful imagination, or maybe I watch too much porn. But I have a lot of ideas, so it's never boring or the same. So. I don't know. Right, and the fact that you enjoy doing it, too, I think that makes a huge difference as well. James was saying that he kind of got, I think he was a little bit bored by the time he got done, but it doesn't seem like it bores you at all to write these scenes. No. I'm just tapping away oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can write, horrible, nasty, dark things day in, day out, but, having said that, I mean, the people who published Pede, is there going to be a sequel? In fact, a few people said there's going to be a sequel, but, I mean, how many times can you describe somebody being eaten by giant centipedes, really, without it? Again, I don't think, for me, there will be a sequel, because what could you do that's new? But then again, you look at the movies. I mean, you look at book sequels. And a lot of people buy it because it's the same. They want to read people getting eaten by insert name of giant animal here, or vampires or werewolves or whatever, and they want the same, I suppose. So you never know.
And if you have lovable characters too, But did you kill off all your characters? Is there any level?
left? No, I didn't. There was two of the characters that actually survived it. The key character actually survived. It's funny. I in the first draft I did actually kill her off, but then I think the mercenary part of me thought, well, there might be room for a sequel in this. I'm not going to kill her off this time. But,
I remember reading your the Erotic Odyssey of Colton Forche and getting to the end thinking, oh my God, I would love to see this a book 2. I would love to see part 2.
A cult classic. It could easily, because it's set in, I guess, an alternative dream world. Yeah, you could have a million.
So many things. Yeah,
sequels.
It'd be awesome. While I try to catch my breath here and maybe get some more wine, I was going to ask Kay if she had a reading ready for us.
I do. Are you guys going to be able to handle my little southern accent here? It comes out.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the accent. It's great. It's great.
Yes, it is.
It's better than listening to Xtina cough, to be quite honest. But
okay, so you want me to just read what I told you I was going to read?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to start.
Okay,
you guys ready?
You've been warned, people.
I know. You've been warned. Okay, yeah. Turn it down if there's children in the room. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. A dark shadow. Brandon swipes his hot tongue back over my clit, and I buck as if I'm a live wire jolting with electricity. More, Brandon, more. I close my eyes, hoping to leap over the blissful edge. My brain betrays the one before me, though, as thoughts of another man flood my mind. A man with messy hair and coffee-colored eyes. A man, not a boy like Brandon. Oh, God, I whimper and bite my lip, attempting to force images of my sexy boyfriend back to the forefront of my mind. I feel close. Brandon's tongue goes wild, and I squirm against him. I want his tongue to own me. I want him to stick his fingers inside of me and probe me where nobody but me has ever been before. I'm ready for so much more than what we've had, for the innocence of our relationship to die a quick death. A creak of the floorboard in my bedroom has me jerking my eyes open. I expect to see Dad, to meet the furious glare of my father, but I don't. Instead, it's something 1,000 times more terrifying. And I nearly come despite the alarm that renders me immobile. I'm a sick girl. A tall man dressed completely in black, donning a ski mask, holds a finger to his lips as he sneaks up behind Brandon. Terror seizes me, and I'm unable to move a muscle. I want to scream. I want to scramble away. I want to know what the hell is going on, but I can't do anything but stare. His dark eyes through the mask stay on mine as he prowls closer. Of course, Brandon chooses that exact moment to hit the right spot. Spots darken my vision, and I'm on the cusp of something euphoric. But my dream is threading with a nightmare. This darkness fits, but it also is wrong and dirty. This can't be real. This can't be happening. I'm confused, but the moment he grabs onto my boyfriend's hair and yanks him away from me, reality splashes me out of my lusty daze. I find my voice and I scream. Everything seems to slow down, and I'm rooted with my butt on the quilt that Nana made for me when I was 12. Brandon attempts to swing at the man, but he's too slow, too young, too innocent. Crack! The man's fist connects with Brandon's nose, and the sickening crunch has me dry heaving. Dad! Brandon crumples to the floor as blood gushes from his face. I need to help him. No, I need to get away. Fear releases its clutch on me, and I scramble on the bed toward the door. I'm close when a powerful arm hooks around my middle and yanks me back. His hand slaps over my mouth, and my naked body heaves in his clutches. I attempt to wriggle from his unyielding grasp, but he's too strong. Did you come? He hisses against my head and frees my mouth. The room blurs with my tears, and I freeze. I know this voice. Gabe? It was a yes or no answer, little girl. You have 3 seconds to answer the fucking question before I slit that pussy's throat. His threat nauseates me, and a sob catches in my throat. Where's Dad? 3. My voice. Why won't it work? Please, God, help me. 2. No. 1. Time's up. He reaches behind me and then brings around a huge knife out in front of me, a knife like that would kill Brandon. No! A throaty grunt vibrates through my back. If I had to guess, I'd say he's pleased by my answer, and by the way his erection presses into my back, I'd say excited too. Good answer, he mutters. Now say goodbye to your bedroom and your pussy-ass boyfriend. You'll never see them again. His hand covers my mouth before I have a chance to belt out the scream that is now lodged in my throat. Surely this is some sort of joke. A plan for Dad to make sure I don't ever try to sneak around with Brandon under his roof. Yes, that must be it. All a game. Sorry, sweetheart, but this is going to hurt. That's the only warning I receive before he cracks me over the head with a blunt object, probably the butt of his knife. Darkness steals over me, and the last thing I catch is a glimpse of Brandon's bloody, unmoving body. You'll never see them again. I can't handle the reality of the concept, and the thought shoves me into oblivion. That's it. That's all I got.
Wow.
I was just sit here in silence for a moment. That was awesome. Beautifully read as well. Are you considered doing an audiobook version of that?
Eventually one day. I'm kind of slow when it comes to audiobooks. I only have 2 audiobooks out right now.
Yeah. Oh, you should. That was. I presume that was the beginning, was it? That sets the whole thing up. I want to know what happens to the heroine.
I know we have a
Yeah.
listener who was just messaging me. No, don't stop yet.
The listener. Hi, listener. So he's out of the asylum now, is he?
Yeah. Well, that's her neighbor actually. That's got her. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Huh.
So is again. I mean, I'm sort of making my own stories up now. Is it what is? I mean, what is the sort of the theme of this? Is it slavery? Is it?
Basically, there's a girl. She's a 17-year-old girl, and her dad is best friends with this guy named Gabe. And Gabe takes her with the intent to sell her for a lot of money. And he's going to train her first. And so he does a lot of really terrible, terrible things. And then he sells her to a very terrible person. But then we learn that maybe that person's not so terrible at all.
Oh.
I like that.
It's 50 Shades of Grey, but with teeth. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like black. Yeah, with teeth and blood and
and proper
a little bit of
proper
OCD
stuff going on. Yeah, instead of
taboo thrown in.
the soft cockness of 50 Shades. We're not big fans of 50 Shades of Grey on this show, I have to say. And if E.L. James is listening, I don't care, to be honest.
God.
It was terrible. It was terrible. I haven't seen either of the films yet. Are they any good? Does anybody know if they're any good?
I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one, and
okay. James, he's always says that we're not a huge fan or whatever. I did read the books. I read all of them.
I read the book, which is why I'm not a huge fan.
I mean, but I read plenty of other books that I, stopped reading in the middle because, I really didn't like them. So I mean, there were definite issues with the books, but the movie, I liked 50 Shades of Grey. I did. I liked the way Dakota played the character. I mean, there's people online. I mean, I'm telling you, people either love it or hate it. There's like no in between at all. But I thought they did a really good job. I like the almost comedic feel that I think that Dakota brought to the character, which I didn't.
Yeah,
I don't think that translated as much.
Comedic. There was nothing humorous about that girl in the book. I just wanted to throttle her, to be honest.
I laughed out loud.
She's like quirky.
Yeah.
She's definitely cute and quirky.
Yeah,
I will have to watch them. So I read the first book and I was just grotesquely unimpressed, to be honest with you. But no, I'll probably give the movie a look at some point.
Yeah, I'm not any hurry to spend a bunch of money at the theater, but I will definitely watch it when it comes out.
It's more committing a couple of hours of my time that I could be doing something else, watching something else, But I don't know. Maybe it's when the flu catches up with me, and I'm in bed rest for a week or so. I might watch it then.
I would not wish that flu on anybody. I really wouldn't. I was so sick, and I'm still. In case anybody notices a weird silence from me, I have to keep pushing the mute button because I'm coughing. When I get laughing, I get coughing, and I'm trying to spare you guys because it's not pretty.
Thank you for that. And she's been ill, but she barely mentioned it, folks. Really. So. So, Kay, Xtina's sort of roped you into doing the embarrassing story segment of the show. Are you up to that? Do you have a good one?
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, I have like a million embarrassing stories. My life.
Okay, well, tell you what, I'm gonna cue you in. We've got a little intro. I'm gonna cue you in, and then you can hit us with your best embarrassing story. Are we ready?
Hi, I'm Patty, and I'm Thelma. What is your most embarrassing story?
Go.
Okay, can I start now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so one time, me and my friend, we decided we were going to go eat at the Olive Garden, and she drove, because, I don't drive anywhere. I like to be driven. And anyway, so she takes me to the restaurant, and we have a great time, and we're getting out, and, she's always making fun of me for doing really stupid, goofy things. But, mostly I just laugh her off because I'm not that goofy. But anyway, so we're walking back to the car, and I see her red van, and I get in the passenger seat, and I close the door, and I look over, and there's this man sitting in the driver's seat, and he's just staring at me. I was thinking, what is he doing in her car? And he's got a laptop in his lap, and he just looks at me, and then he says, oh. And I'm like, why is this guy laughing at me? And I look out the window, and my friend's, in tears, pointing at me, laughing, and I'm like, what is wrong with people? Am I being punked? He's like, I think you got in the wrong car. And I was like, I thought, man, oh my God, he could just kidnap me or something. So I slid out of the car, shut the car doors, and of course it was right next to it. But I was like, it was really embarrassing. And it wasn't embarrassing enough. We went back to the bank where I worked at, and she told everybody. I was like, okay, never gonna live that one down.
Oh, that's awesome. And it wouldn't even been kidnapping. You just gave yourself to this stranger.
I was going to say, you are lucky it wasn't Ted Bundy or someone. That could have been...
I know. He just looked at me and thought, what, this dumb girl.
Yeah, unless he was expecting you to pull a gun on him or something and rob him.
Right.
I know. He kind of had that deer in the headlights look at first, she doesn't look like she could hurt me with that, that blonde hair, that big smile, but you never know.
Oh, that's a good one.
I
can't
that.
wait to hear
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's not fair, James. So far, I've even had to tell an embarrassing story, and I haven't heard one from you yet. So,
well, I think, as I said when we started, literally every embarrassing story I can think of involves me soiling myself. I'm trying to think of something that doesn't involve me soiling myself, and when I do, I will tell it. I've got some really good ones actually, but they all involve soilage, I'm afraid. So I'm sure I can think of something.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I think she's coughing again. So
yeah, I was. Oh my goodness, I can't tell if the wine is helping or you know what? Maybe I need a shot of NyQuil. That would probably help. But it doesn't help that I'm...
Is it? I always find it's funny when I have a bad throat. I always wine irritates, aggravates it. Like I say, what you want is just some good cheap shit brandy, and that will really soothe your throat.
Yeah, well, maybe for next week. I'll keep that in mind.
Take it from Dr. Jim. That's what you need, some good old cheap brandy.
So, one question I always have for, especially people who write dark erotica and stuff like that, is who do you like to read?
I like to read. I don't know if you know Pepper Winters. She's one of my favorites.
I do. We had her on the show a couple months ago.
We had her on the show, yay!
Yeah, cool, awesome. Yeah, no, she started my love for darkness. I read her book Tears of Tess, and I had been reading contemporary romance, and I read this, and I thought, oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. And after that, I wanted to read everything like it, and then, like I said, it took a couple of years for me to get the balls to write that way. So. But yeah, she's definitely somebody I like to read.
Yeah, I read, I can't remember anymore which one I read first, but I read them back to back. It was her Monsters in the Dark series and C.J. Roberts' what is it called? Captive in the Dark, Dark Duet series. Yes. And I can't remember anymore which one I read first, but I remember the first one that I read, and then the second one I thought, oh, it's going to be so much like it, and I'm going to, but it wasn't. I mean, they were so, they were so different that, man, I was a huge fan of both of them. I really was, and I have them in paperback, and,
me too.
They were such good books, and and people, I read some of the reviews for the epilogue book of C.J. Roberts. It was just called Epilogue, I think, wasn't it? And I loved that book because they made us see Caleb, the guy. They made us see him in a totally different light. And
that's always cool.
Yeah, I loved him. He became so much more human in that book, and in some of the I just loved it. So now I just took some NyQuil and it was really gross. Yeah. It was. That stuff tastes horrible, by the way. Anybody remember what that stuff tastes like? It's just bad. Oh,
NyQuil. I took some. Oh God, years and years and years ago, and it knocked me out. I mean, I think I took one dose and nothing happened, so I'll take another couple. And it literally knocked me out for like a day and a half. I was just couldn't wake up the next morning. I just spent most of the next day in bed. But dangerous stuff. It really is. Probably.
Well, yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you. We're about running out of the time here on our first segment, and I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show, Kay, and asking if you'll come back and will you come back and see us again?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, we've not scared you off too much. It can be scary.
You're on your best behavior, James. You were good. So.
Thank you.
And where can we find you online? Okay.
You can go to my website, www.authorkwebster.com, and just browse. I have like 35 books or something. I don't know. I lost count.
Oh, wow. Very prolific.
Okay, and I think we posted most of your links on our Facebook page, so anybody can go there and scroll down, and we have all your links there, I believe, too. I stalk really well. James puts me in charge of stalking. So,
yep.
So I will definitely be stalking you on Facebook to have you come back and see us, though. Thank you very much.
All right,
thank you.
Guys.
Absolute pleasure. Oh, so hopefully Xtina can survive till next week. But no, thank you for joining us, Kate. It's been fun. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Jo. What a great gal. What a great gal.
I know.
And how are you? You're sort of coughing away, bless. I mean, it's.
I know. It's all day long. I think I was okay. I just coughed. Randomly here and there, but I get laughing and having a great time, and I can't stop coughing.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the next half, we'll try not to have such a good time. Okay, we'll sort of just try to be bit dull and boring, and then you're not laugh so much. So that could work. Anywho, it's bladder time for me. Do you have any commercials, or are we not bothering tonight?
I have them. I'm hopefully I can get through them. Yeah, let's see.
Go. I can help otherwise. Go on.
Okay. Okay. A brand new press specializing in horror, bizarro, dark erotica, erotic horror, and dark poetry. Hellbound Books Publishing wants your best stories. Now open for novels, short story collections, and anthology submissions. Please pay no mind to the sulfur smell. Go to hellboundbookspublishing.com to learn more. In the mood for something steamy to read this winter, check out new erotica author Jennifer Lynn's website at jenniferlynnerotica.com. You can find James on his website, www.jameslongmore.com. And don't forget to follow the Panic Room Radio on social media. Our Facebook page, Unofficial, The Panic Room Radio Show. Twitter at Panic Room Radio, our YouTube channel, The New Panic Room Radio Show, and come visit our website, www.panicroomradio.com. Yay, I made it.
Yay, well done, all without coughing as well. Bless. Bless your little heart.
Okay.
Well, the halftime song. It's a quick one, so I'm gonna have to weave very quickly. I've been caught short, so we'll be right back straight after this.
Why, even in France, the best opera sets do it.
Lithuanians, and let's do it, let's fall in love. In old Japan, all the Japs do it. Up in Lapland, little Laps do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love.
The Dutch in old Amsterdam do it, not to mention the Finns. Folks in Siam do it, think of Siamese twins.
in shallow shoals, English souls do it. Goldfish in the privacy of bowls do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. The chimpanzees in the zoos do it. Some courageous kangaroos do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love.
I'm sure giraffes on the slide do it. Even eagles as they fly do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Electric eels, I might add, do it. Though it shocks them, I know.
Why ask if shad do it? Garçon, the shad row. The world admits bears and pits do it.
Even Pekingese at the wrist, do it.
Let's do it. Let's fall in love. And they considered it fun.
Marie Antoinette did it.
With or without Napoleon.
Parliament, pleasure vent did it.
Mamsells every time they're short of rent did it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love.
Duh! Welcome back to part 2.
And yeah, indeed, welcome back to part 2. I mean, the listener did ask, actually, bless him. I do need to give a shout out to the talented comedian who does our voices, or most of the voices, a Mexican comic called Mario Sainz, who was here from Houston. He's I forget where he lives now. I knew him from the comedy circuit when I first moved here. I did stand up, and he befriended me when a lot of the comics thought I was just some upstart from England, which I suppose I was in many ways, but great guy, a man of a million voices, just auditioned for America's Got Talent. So if he gets anywhere, then hopefully he will. We can try and we must get him on the show. Actually, I know he's not an author or anything, but he's great, makes me laugh. Very, very funny guy. And speaking of funny guys, hopefully Xtina's back with us. Are you there, my dear?
I am, and hopefully I can.
I've been meaning to give young
breath,
Mario a shout out for a while, but incredibly talented. He's. In fact, I'm going to share this with you. My favourite Mario joke. I mean, Barry, I just set this up. He's a big guy. He's a big, he likes his tacos. Put it that way. Big guy. My favourite Mario joke. He went to a Thai massage parlour. The girl's giving a rub down. She said, "Do you want a happy ending?" And he said yes. So she bought him a box of donuts.
Nice.
There you go. My favourite Mario, John. Every time. It cracks me up, that one. But so, hey, ask me what's new with me this week.
What's new with you this week, James? Did that sound
Glad you asked. I wasn't forced to talk. Sorry, we can edit that out. I have a new novel out on the 18th, on Saturday.
I saw that. I love the cover. I do.
It's an awesome cover. When you read the book, the cover fits the book perfectly. All kudos to Sinister Green Press for doing that one, pulling that one out of the hat. To be fair, the first effort wasn't so good, and in fact, it's funny. They said, what do you think? I said, I don't like it. Well, neither did we. So why send it? Why bother?
Right.
Right. No, that's great. I mean, it's a story. It's a story that it's actually the first novel I wrote, funnily enough, and it went to one publisher who literally did nothing with it for 2 years. They sat on it for 2 years. So this novel will have taken 3 years from first acceptance to actually hitting the shelves. And it's we'll actually cover more off about it next week. But it's not creatures, it's not monsters, it's not demons. My usual fare. It's an average everyday couple who are obviously not 100% all, 100% right, but and I like it because it's psychological. It's the demons, the monsters, these two people, and what's going on in their heads. And
sometimes that's scarier. We were talking about this last week. I've been reading, and I'm such a slow reader right now because I only get a chance really late at night, and by that time usually I fall asleep quickly. But I've been reading The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and that's one of those Stephen Kings where there's this, it's just life. Like, there's no scary monsters out there. It's all in her head, and kind of. But no, it's so good though. It really is, and I think that's sometimes scarier.
There is nothing more scary than what your mind can conjure up. Like I say, this couple are, Mr. and Mrs. Average, really. A couple of teachers, they have bad sex, they have, shitty friends, and awkward dinner parties, and just the all average, everyday white collar Americana, and the book's called Flanagan, by the way, listener. If you want to buy it, you can actually pre-order it on Kindle at the moment, but it'll be available on all formats come Saturday. It's on my website, jameslongmore.com, obviously on the Sinister Grin site, but it'll be everywhere, hopefully, over the next week or so. Again, I'm giving nothing away. It has a twist that will take your breath away, that I defy all my beta readers didn't see it coming. I defy anybody to see the twist coming. It will knock your socks off, guaranteed.
I'm excited now. I've read some stuff of yours, and I really love your writing, so I can't wait. And I'm going to hold out for a free copy. I hear you say that every week, and I'm holding out.
Yeah, not a problem. It's funny, the publisher read it. Even he said he read the twist. He then went back to reread it, knowing what the twist was going to be, to pick up on, like The Sixth Sense, where you'll watch it a second time. Oh, I get that, makes sense. Yep. It's one of those, and you will go back and you'll reread it, and right, that's that Easter egg, It's good, it's clever, I love it, it's probably, when it's said, probably be my favourite, I think, for a while, but
nice.
But I'm
of that,
debating whether the next one's going to be devils, demons, or what. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to literally sleep on it, and I want to do something different to what I've been writing for
I was going to say, we need Colton to come back.
Colton, I have a funny feeling he might actually one day. He's great. He's a cult classic. He's Colton. It's funny enough, he's actually on Amazon, I guess, because of some of the content. The Erotic Odyssey of Colton Forche is actually adult filtered.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can see that, though. I can see that.
It is. I was a bit offended at first. I thought, well, no, having read it again, I'd have probably blocked it. I'm surprised it's not been banned, actually, but
You're right.
It's got a bit of everything in there. But I think because it's written very funny, very, very tongue-in-cheek. It's written. It's like as Monty Python writes horror, and it's meant as one big comedy romp. I don't see it as offensive. Even the bit about the horse, he's not meant to be offensive. It's a throwaway funny bit,
Yeah. Well,
but
it's like even the crazy things that are happening, the way you write it, it doesn't, everybody else is just okay with whatever's going on, and it's only the reader that's going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm reading this, but the people in the story, that's just what, that's just normal, so it's not
that's
crazy.
The thing, in the dream world that he finds himself in, that's what it is. It's a dream world, and or is it? Or is it? There you go. Buy the book, people. Buy it. The Erotic Odyssey of Colton
really
Lachey,
good.
available from Hellbound Books, and I can't remember how much it is, but it's probably worth twice. Probably worth twice the price, to be honest with you. I'd pay twice the price, but anywho, is there anything happening next? I've no idea what's going on next, but no, I do really. We have another guest. We do. Cassia.
Cassia Brightmore.
Oh, Cassia. Is it Cassia Brightmore? Hopefully, we'll find out. Shall we? Shall we ask her? Shall we ask her? Hello, are you there, Mum?
Hi, I'm here.
Hello.
Hi.
How does one pronounce your name?
Cassia.
Oh,
Cassia.
Man, you were right.
I was right.
Wrong.
I was right. The mispronouncer of everything. I got it right. Get it? Well, thank you for joining us, Cassia. Absolute pleasure. How are you this evening?
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. You have to not mind my voice. I've caught the book splash plague, so I've been sick since I got back last week. So, almost everybody that was on the ship has come down with it. It's actually a little bit funny, but yeah, no, I've been sick all this week, so don't mind if I just start coughing. I've been trying to drink a lot of liquid for the last hour or so to keep myself hydrated.
Maybe we can get our coffee
rather ironically, your book is Lincoln Hospital, which is perfect.
I know. It's funny, right?
Yeah, and oddly enough, I'm reading a book at the moment from an author, a local author actually, Houston author which is about the Black Plague, and I'm living it now with you guys. Just. I said to Xtina last week, had she been a horse, they'd have probably put her down by now if she'd been that young.
I know. I got the flu shot, and I've had the flu twice now since then. It's crazy. I'll never do that again. I'll never do it again.
But I explained that to you last week. Didn't I? Is it a waste of? It's a waste of money. You might as well just save that. I mean, how much did that cost you? Sort of what, $20?
I don't. Yeah, something like that. I don't even know.
That's two bottles of wine, Xtina. So think on.
We have the flu shot in Canada as well, but it's free because we have free health care. So it's available to us, but I always find the same thing. Like after I get it, ironically, I'm always suddenly sick. Like it's just one of those things, So it's pretty fun. Like we don't pay for it, but you pay for it,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, they say you get what you pay for. I mean, it's funny. I'm coming from England. I mean, we get free healthcare. It's not free. I mean, obviously you pay for it in your taxes, but as I explained to Xtina last week, the thing with the flu shots is what they immunise you against is like the last few years virus, because of the time it takes to cultivate, create the shot. It's always like a year behind, and because each season the virus mutates its protein coat for the very reason to dodge your antibodies, then I suppose it cuts down the chances of you getting an old virus, which obviously is still about, but they can't immunise you against the new one. So Murphy's Law dictates you will get it. So there.
Right,
so you've all wasted your money, all of you. If it's going to get you, it's going to get you. I mean, seriously. I have kids. I have children in the house. I've got a small one, and they just pick up everything. It's just and they shift it in like a day and a half and leave you leave you dying in bed for a fortnight, which is bless them. Bless them. That's what I say. So anyway, the hospital, Cassia, tell us a little bit more about that.
So that Lincoln Hospital is the first book in my second series. I have a completed series out already, and that's 4 books, the Darkness series, and then this is my brand new series. So Lincoln Hospital is the first book, and Flatline is book 2, and then book 3 will come out in March. So this is a series that follows a heart surgeon that works at Lincoln Hospital. If you ever see, I don't know if you get the show over there in the UK called Dexter, or a show called Grey's Anatomy. Yes, so Dexter. It's kind of like a cross the best way to describe it is it's kind of like a cross between those two shows. So, Dr. Kean O'Reilly is the main male character in the book, and he's like a world-renowned heart surgeon by day, and by night he's a serial killer. So,
awesome. I like it. you could call it Dr. McKilly.
Yeah, you could call him Dr. McKilly. Oh my God, I love that. That's
there you
hilarious. Go. So the Dexter piece of it is his victims are people that have escaped justice. So they're criminals that have somehow got away without any punishment, and he makes sure that they end up patients in his OR, and then he hands out his own justice, which is basically killing them. So by day he saves lives, and by night he takes them. That's kind of what the series is about. So it just follows along different cases that he has as a doctor, and then different victims that he has as a serial killer, and then how he pieces it together to basically get away with it right under the nose of everybody in the hospital. So that's kind of what that series is about. And Lincoln Hospital is the first book.
I like it. I like that idea where he saves lives by day and doesn't save lives by. Or does he though? I mean, these people. I mean, are they really, really bad people that he's killing? I know Dexter kills other serial. He preys on serial killers, which is
bad people.
Which is an awesome premise. So, I mean, how bad are the people that? I'm going to call him Dr. McKilly because I like that. I mean, how bad are these people?
I like that. I kind of really like that nickname. I'm going to run with that. I'm going to make that a new hashtag on the series. That's amazing.
Awesome. Go for
it. Get T-shirts and things.
I picked out one of the excerpts that I picked out is his very first victim in the book, in the series. And this lady, she was a foster mother, and she was arrested on charges of like child molestation and trafficking, and a couple accounts of suspicious death. So these were children that had been in her care, that these things had happened to them, and then when she was arrested, she got off on insufficient evidence when she was clearly guilty. So those sorts of things. Another one was a cop killer, like those sorts of things. So, there was a robbery at a liquor store, and the robber killed the policeman and got away with it. So those sorts of people are the ones that he goes after. That they do these sorts of things, and for whatever reason, the justice system fails them, and they don't serve any punishment for what they've done. So it's I tried my research for it. I set it up that you get to learn a little bit about the victim first, about why. Because he hunts every 23rd day. That's the premise of the book too. On the 23rd day he hunts, so he does one killing a month, and he picks specific victims from his portfolio. He has everything all planned out, all researched, and then he'll go through his book. He'll pick, he'll hunt, he'll set up the kill, and so it all goes down in the OR. So he's got it all. He's got all the research. He's got, are they actually a criminal? Should this, you know what I mean? It's not like he just, you stole candy, I'm going to go get you. It's not like that. He actually does, do the research on it and follows the cases and stuff like that. One of the things, too, in the story is there's, a reporter that's picked up on this a little bit, and she does some reports on the suspicious deaths and stuff like that. And so, it really drives him mental, right? Because he's seeing everything that he's done on the news, but nobody actually knows that it's him, just knows that these people are suspiciously dying after they've gotten away with such and such a crime, So that's kind of another piece that I'm going to it's not really been too explored, the first two books. It's going to come out a little bit more further in the series about that reporter and her kind of having an inkling of what's going on.
Well, I'm really anxious to hear more. Do you have a reading ready for us?
I do. So, like I said, I have that first. It's a little bit long. I was trying to trim it down, but you wouldn't really get the full effect of the scene, so it's not too long, but it's a little long. So the premise of this part here is Kian has picked, not his first victim, it's the first victim in the series that you see. So he's been at the hospital, he's just left, and it's the 23rd day, and he's ready to do his hunt. So he's in his car at the moment, just flipping through and getting ready to hunt. So I'll just read it.
Okay.
I might take a couple breaks to take a sip of water. So,
okay.
So this is just a little piece from his portfolio. So it says, Sally Pope, age 47, address 147 Hudson Street, Staten Island. Career foster mother. Information, arrested and tried on charges of child molestation, trafficking, one count of suspicious death. All charges dropped before trial due to lack of sufficient evidence. And then it just carries on. Turning a few more pages revealed photos of several children and a few young teenage girls. Newspaper clippings were attached detailing the arrest, investigation, and subsequent dropping of all charges, which made Sally a free woman, an injustice Kian could not stand for. He glanced back at one of the photos of a small girl, barely more than 4 years old, beaten so badly, both of her eyes were swollen shut. She was a tiny thing and was still covered head to toe in bruises. A few baby teeth had been knocked out, causing swelling around her small mouth. The medical report revealed she'd indeed been sexually assaulted, in addition to a severe beating. Disgust was a bitter taste in his mouth at the thought that this, I'm going to say a bad word, this cunt was walking free, while this small child would have a long road of recovery from such a trauma if she ever recovered fully from it at all. His mind made up, he tossed the folder onto the passenger seat and keyed Sally's home address into his GPS. It was time to hunt. Letting the anger flow through him, he turned up the classical music on his stereo to an ear-shattering decibel and let the car steer him in the direction of its prey. It was nights like this that he showed the exterior that anyone in his everyday life saw. Gone was a professional man with the better-than-God attitude, and in his place was the monster that lived beneath the surface, the one that craved a hunt, the thrill, the feeling of warm, sticky blood dripping from his fingertips. The two sides of who he was warred with each other, one with the power to heal, the other with the power to end lives in torturous ways. Tonight it was time to let the devil out to play. Sally may have escaped a nightmarish life sentence, but she was about to experience a hell unlike any she'd ever known, his hell. His GPS led him to a row of condos, and he pulled to a stop across the street from number 147. The information in his folder told him that Sally lived alone for the moment, but would be reinstated to her job as a foster mother within the next couple of weeks. He had to act fast if he wanted to prevent her from getting near another child. Considering his next move, he grabbed his phone from the console when it dinged, indicating an incoming message. O'Reilly, what the fuck? You take off in the middle of shift? It was Reynolds. The man was worse than a stage 5 clinger of a woman at times. Calm the fuck down. I'll be back in 30. I'll be right behind with a delivery, so make sure things are set. Got it. That's just like text messages. Satisfied that things are being handled back at the hospital, Kian put the phone back in his console tray and watched as one of the doors opened from the row of houses across the street. A woman emerged, and with a quick glance back at his portfolio, he confirmed that it was the target, Sally. Fucking A, he muttered. She climbed into a black minivan, parked a few doors down, and pulled out into the traffic. Keegan waited a few beats before following, ensuring to keep several cars between them. A few blocks away, she veered off into a supermarket parking lot, and after finding a free space, headed inside. Inspiration struck, and finding a notepad on his back seat, he scribbled a quick note. Slipping from the car, he approached her van and slipped the note under her windshield wipers, keeping to the shadows so that any security cameras wouldn't pick up his form. Some 20 minutes later, when Sally came back out, she placed her groceries in the trunk and then rounded the vehicle and paused before opening the driver's side door. Grabbing the note from the windshield, she opened it, and even from across the parking lot, Kian could feel her terror at reading the words. The paper slipped from her fingertips, and she started to run as Kian simultaneously pulled from his spot, angling his car in the perfect position. All it took was a few steps, and she flew up over the hood of his car, landing with a solid thud on the pavement. Leaping from the car, Kian screamed for help while fighting to suppress his cold grin of glee. Reaching her side, he felt for a pulse, overjoyed when he felt it strong and steady. Sally stared up at him, her eyes pleading for help. Blood trickled from her mouth, and her right leg was bent at an odd angle underneath her. Glancing over his shoulder, he saw an employee from the supermarket rushing towards him. Call 911, he shouted. The woman nodded, her The young woman nodded, her red ponytail flying behind her as she dashed back inside the store to do as he instructed. I'm a doctor, he told Sally as he turned his attention back to her. Don't worry, I'm going to make sure you get exactly where you need to be. Adrenaline pumped through his veins as he mentally prepared for what was to come. He called forward the image of the abused children, the missing teenage girls, and used those reminders to push himself forward with what he was about to do. This woman was a disgrace, a disgusting excuse for a human needed to be punished his way since the judicial system had once again failed to do its job. Hearing the sirens in the distance, he reacted swiftly and pulled a needle from his pocket. Removing the cap, he expertly slid the pre-filled dose of the perfect amount of potassium chloride into her skin and repocketed the needle before the young cashier joined them. Sally's mouth had formed an O of surprise as she struggled to find the breath to shed light on what Kian had just done. He. She gurgled, trying and failing to lift an arm to point accusingly at him. Yes, ma'am, I know. It was me that hit you. But you came out of nowhere, tearing across the parking lot. I'm very sorry, but there was no way I could have stopped. Kian interjected smoothly over top of Sally's attempts to expose him. I saw, mister. I saw from the window. She ran in front of the car. The young girl's green eyes were wide with excited fear. Yes, she did. Give me that apron you're wearing, he ordered, and once she'd obeyed, he tore a strip off it and used it to bind a bleeding gash at Sally's elbow. The remaining parts of fabric he rolled into a ball and tucked under her head in a showcased attempt to make her feel more comfortable. As if on cue, the ambulance pulled into the parking lot and paramedics rushed to their side. Keane stepped back to give them room and announced that he'd check her car for her personal belongings. Heading towards the minivan, he scooped down discreetly and swiped the forgotten note from the ground and quickly put it in his pocket. He snatched Sally's purse from where she dropped it and returned just as the paramedics were finishing up their initial assessment. Sally's breathing had sped up, and the portable monitor's alarm started going off just as Kian dropped to his knees beside her. She's going into cardiac arrest. Get the ECG machine and get ready to push morphine, he ordered, glaring when neither one of the male paramedics moved. Are you fucking deaf? Let's get moving. Who are you? The first male asked. This one was cocky as all fuck, a big beefy African-American with tattoos climbing down his neck and disappearing under his uniform shirt. I'm Dr. O'Reilly. We're taking her to Lincoln Hospital. Let's get ready to move. Again, neither moved a muscle, and Kian's temper started to rise as his blood boiled. If they fucked this up for him, Kian O'Reilly, the second paramedic, asked. He was a bulky guy as well, though nowhere near the size of his partner. Caucasian with sandy blonde hair and short blue eyes, he seemed to be the more sensible of the two. As in the surgeon, that Dr. O'Reilly? Yes, definitely the smarter of the two. Yes, so if you heard of me, you know that I'm being dead serious when I say we need to go now or she dies right here. We need to be careful that we don't do any more damage by moving her, the idiot paramedic began before Kian cut him off. None of that is going to matter if her heart gives out, you fucking dumb fuck. Just get the fuck out of my way. I'll load her on the stretcher myself. The smart one stood, and together he and Kian got Sally onto the stretcher and into the ambulance while the other man finally saw sense and went around to hop into the driver's seat. He leaned his head into the cab of the ambulance and made eye contact with the paramedic sitting with Sally. What's your name? He asked. Nick Parker. All right, Nick. Keep her alive until we get to the hospital. I'll follow behind you in my car. Closing the doors and pounding on them twice to signal they were good to go, Kian stepped back and noticed a small crowd had gathered to watch. He immediately turned on the charm, addressing them as he moved to the car. Ladies and gentlemen, everything is fine here. I'm a doctor, a damn good doctor, and I'm on my way right now to make sure that poor woman gets exactly what she needs. He flashed a dazzling smile that was sure to weaken the knees of the females. There was a resounding sigh of relief and a few cheers and people calling out thank you as he climbed in the car and sped out of the parking lot. Kian ran through the ER doors behind the stretcher, barking orders as he went. Take her straight to ORB. Reynolds, you better be fucking ready for me. 2 nurses and a resident rushed forward to take over from the paramedics, getting report as they ran down the hall to the elevators. Kian hot on their heels. He ducked into the attending's locker room and quickly discarded the syringe from his pocket and the sharps container, and moving to the shredder, pulled a note from his pocket and fed it through the teeth, watching as the warning he'd left for Sally disappeared into little bits of paper. I know who you are. I'm watching you. Get in the van at your own risk. His calculation of Sally had been on point. She was only out for her own survival and had bolted just as he'd expected she would, right into the path of his waiting vehicle. Recalling the way she flew up over his hood gave him a sick feeling of joy that he relished. Making her pay was going to be such sweet victory. After scrubbing, he stepped into the OR and slipped his hands into the waiting gloves the nurse was holding out for him. Everyone in the room was handpicked by him, and he trusted them explicitly. Reynolds stood by, ready to knock the patient out and wake them up again at his command. 2 trusted scrub nurses, Patricia and Lorna, that had been by his side for years, were prepped and had his specific tools lined up and ready for his competent hands. With no acknowledgement to anyone, he reached over over the instrument table and plucked a tool from the neatly arranged tray. Examining it, his face lit up with cold, wicked delight. The small metal scalpel twitched between his fingers in anticipation, ready and willing to perform his procedure. Leaning over, he brought the tip of the blade to Sally's soft, smooth skin and pressed down slightly. As the first drop of crimson blood appeared, his grin widened. Let the games begin. Sally's eyes flew open at the feel of the blade slicing into her. She screamed out from her gagged mouth, and Keane leaned down. Keane leaned down to peer into her eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Did you feel that? She nodded frantically, relieved that he'd heard her and would do something about the pain. Keane waited a few moments, lulling her into a false sense of safety, allowing her to think that feeling the scalpel was just an error. When he was certain she was relaxed, he resumed his task of cutting shallow cuts up and down her right arm, watching as the blood flowed freely onto the table and then dripping onto the floor. Ah, Sally screamed out behind the gag with each swipe of the blade. The pain was excruciating. She felt it in every molecule of her skin. So you felt that as well? What a shame. Tell me, Miss Pope, how do you think those children felt when they were beaten? When they were being sexually abused by the men you let into your home? Children, some under 4 fucking years old. You exploited them, used them to make a few extra dollars. You make me sick, bad at her. Sally's eyes had gone wide as saucers as realization dawned. It wasn't a mistake. She was feeling everything the doctor was doing. It was deliberate. She was being punished, tortured. Frantically, she shook her head and tried to plead from behind her gag. Her begging only fueled the fire of his rage. He motioned for the nurse to step forward with a retractor. In one clean movement, he sliced down her chest diagonally, ignoring the way her body tried to buck off the table. She was restrained at the ankles, and both arms were spread wide and strapped down to the table. Forcing the retractor into the incision he'd made, he cracked her chest and then shot her a look. Well, look at that. You do have a heart. Pity is just an organ to you. No real fucking emotion from you at all. Pliers, he ordered, holding out his hand. When the instrument was in his grasp, he nodded at Reynolds, who slipped the gag from her mouth. Sally promptly started screaming bloody murder. Reynolds quickly wrapped his hands around her throat, cutting off her air just enough to keep her quiet. He fit the pliers over one of her bottom teeth and then locked eyes with her. One of those children was missing teeth. It's only fair you know the pain that child felt, don't you think? Sally squirmed and bucked, but it was no use. With a ruthless yank, he pulled the tooth from the root, letting it drop into a stainless steel basin. He repeated the motion 4 more times before stepping back. Shame about you hitting the pavement so hard that it knocked your teeth loose, isn't it? Sally was reduced to almost inaudible whimpers of pain now, and he was pretty certain she'd soiled herself. Let's finish this. I can't stand to look at her any longer, Keane said, and retrieved the scalpel. With a precise movement, he punctured her aorta. She'd bleed out in minutes, a much more merciful death than she deserved after the hell she'd inflicted on others, but it'd have to do. They were a little ahead of schedule on this kill, and Keane couldn't risk any unwanted visitors coming into his OR. When it was over and she was finally dead, Keane looked around and was satisfied on what he saw on his team's faces. They all had their reasons for what they did, but it was never spoken of. Their acts of vigilantism would never be accepted by society, especially in the way they performed it. Some may have wanted him persecuted for what he did, but the simple fact was he killed people that needed killing. The need inside him grew with each passing day, and when the 23rd day of the month came around, he hunted down one of his selected victims and carried out the punishment they'd managed to escape. Lately, the hunger to take human life was growing stronger, and it was becoming more difficult to wait the standard time he'd set out for himself to balance the 2 sides of his life. The Dr. O'Reilly who walked in the daylight and was a legendary lifesaver, and the Dr. O'Reilly who emerged in the night, who was the judge, jury, and executioner for anyone that escaped proper justice for their crimes. Same cleanup procedure, I'll write up the post-op notes next shift. Good work. He walked out of the OR without another word, riding on the thrill of another successful kill under the nose of everyone in the building. It felt fucking good, powerful. He was drunk on the adrenaline of it. It was going to be a long 4 weeks. Oh my God, that was a really long excerpt.
It was, but you read it beautifully. That sounds really good. I want to read it now.
It got me gripped. Yeah, I mean, it's almost. I mean, yeah, it's one of those bizarre things. I mean, you manage to sort of evoke a mix of emotions in so much as, you know, he's a doctor. He's supposed to be a preserver of life, Hippocratic oath, and all the rest of it. But she deserved it, and almost taking sort of sick pleasure in her suffering, knowing what she's inflicted. So very cleverly written. I like that. My kind of stuff, actually.
It's written in. I write in third person, which is not really the norm in the indie world. Like a lot of indie books are first person, but I write in third because like I grew up reading authors like Nora Roberts and Julie Garwood and they all write in third person. So
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you like that. I mean, yeah.
I like that you can kind of jump into any character's head at any time. Like, you don't need to wait for the next chapter, you know? So, like, I could be a little bit in Sally's head there with what she was feeling on the table, but at the same time, like, the point of view is really Kian's, you know? But you can jump into her a little bit and it still makes sense, you know? I like that piece of third person. It also, especially with a thriller book, too, you want to try to get as much emotion and perception out of everything that you can. So that's why I tend to write in third person. But yeah, so that's actually, that excerpt that's chapter 1. That's how the book starts. So it kind of like grips you right off the bat. Well, I tried anyway, you know, to grip the reader right off the bat and pull them in. So
yeah, that is how you do it. And wow, that's chapter 1.
That's
really good.
Straight into the action. I mean, and again, I like that. I mean, you know, I like to be, you know, I've got a short attention span. You know, if something doesn't grab me, whether it's a book or a movie, where it doesn't grab me within those first few pages, then, you know, I'm gone, pretty much. And that's probably. So this is going to be. I mean, how long is the series going to be? I mean, have you planned that out yet? How long is it going to be?
I've got 8 books plotted right now for the series. So two of them are already out. Yes, 2 of them are already out, and the book 3 will be out at the end of March. Each one of them, like my previous series, is a series of 4 books that you could read as standalones. This series, no. Each one of them ends on a cliffhanger. So you need to start with Lincoln Hospital, and you need to follow all the way through, because if you don't start here, you're not going to understand, you know. It's explained in book 1 why he hunts on the 23rd day, that sort of a thing. And then there's a whole bunch of characters that are introduced as well. So if you start right at Flatline, which is book 2, you're not going to have any idea of what the heck's going on. So you need to start at book 1. And then, of course, they end on massive cliffhangers. So I like that because
I was going to ask about the 23rd thing, but obviously that would be a big spoiler, so I won't ask, I promise.
Yes.
But,
no, it's okay. There is a reason for it. It is explained in the first book. If there's a reason why it's the 23rd, and there's a reason why he started doing this. Like, he didn't just wake up one morning and, I'm going to be a killer. Like, it all comes out later in the book as to why. And those people that help him in the OR as well. So Dr. Reynolds is an anesthesiologist, and then he has 2 scrub nurses as well that help him, and that's explained as well. Not everybody in book 1. It's a little bit more into book 2, but there is a reason as well as to why they're on his team and why he trusts them.
Wow. Well, again, building up, you know, some awesome characters there, and I can certainly see the parallels with Dexter. And again, it's a common thread with serial killers that they, to a man, you know, that they all believe that they have a mission and they call it their work, and you know, it just obviously seems to go with the territory. I guess, you know, they justify it to themselves, even in their own delusion. But I think what I like about this sort of this spin, I said with the Dexter spin as well, is that you know, they believe, I mean, in some ways they're doing society a service.
Right.
That's right.
Even if you, to stretch a point, look at Hannibal Lecter. You know, when he started off, he started his killing career, I guess, killing the people who murdered his sister. And it's probably pushing a point when in Hannibal, when he murdered the violinist for missing a couple of notes, probably taking a little bit too far.
Right.
But it's like the Death Wish films, you know. By the time they got to Death Wish 6, they'd run out of people for Paul Kersey to have killed. You know, just somebody who stepped on his lawn, you know, something. He beat them. I mean, it's just got ridiculous. But this, I can see that. I mean, because I guess there's a never-ending source of bad guys. You could just go on and on and on.
Definitely.
Well, that's
and
exactly
I
right.
think,
I mean, and that's why. Sorry,
I was going to say, no, I think that, you know, there's an element of vigilante in all of us. You know, we all would like to go and help clean up the streets and rid society of bad people, and this sort of character is actually living that. I mean, again, hopefully it's not a spoiler, but I mean, is he mentally unwell, or is it run deeper than that?
No, it's not. It's not that. There's a specific incident that happened to him. There's a specific incident that happened that has caused him to be this way. So, like he was before that incident, he was just a normal doctor, and his ambition was to become the best heart surgeon and that sort of a thing. But then something happened which kind of like brought out the rage, sort of,
Yeah.
And it kind of flipped that switch in him. And so now this is how he deals with that trauma as to what happened. Mentally, like he really does feel like he's doing the right thing. And he's enlisted these others to help him under the premise of we're doing the right thing here, So that's kind of where that comes from. But it's true, we all do see people as bad guys get away with things, and we wish we could do something. I mean, maybe not to the extreme that we go and kill them all, but you just you hear it on the news all the time about so and so gets away with this or that, and you just think, well, you deserve just to be, strung up by your toes over there, But of course, we're never going to go and do that. But this is that kind of thinking, But he actually he goes through with it and makes it happen. Is it right? Well, of course not. But at the same time, it's not particularly wrong either. He is at the end of the day, he feels like he's doing society a favor by, that foster mother in a few weeks' time, she was going to be given back more foster children, and look what happened to the other ones in her care. So it's the right thing but the wrong thing. So it's not that he's mentally unstable. There's that one thing that happened, and it just kind of it changed his life, sort of thing. And then it's interesting because there's new interns that come in, and so there is a bit of romance. Like it's a romantic suspense book. So he starts up a romance with one of the new interns, and so it's interesting to see how that all falls into place with him behind the scenes killing people. It's interesting how it all plays out.
Well, I
Excellent.
hate that
That
this
sounds
second segment seemed to just speed by us, and we are just about out of time now. But I want to thank you very much for coming on the show, Cassia, and will you come back and see us?
I would love to. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about my book and the series and share that little piece of it there. Sorry it was so long.
Oh, it was great.
That's okay.
And
we enjoyed that. Thank you.
We have your links up on the Panic Room, the Facebook page, so our listeners can go there to stalk you. And again, I just want to thank you so much. You were an awesome guest.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Yeah. No, thank you. And I don't know if do you have a website we can find you on, or is it on all the usual spots?
Yeah, no, I have my own official website too, which is CassiaBrightmoreAuthor.com. So you can check that one out there, and then I have my Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter, and all of that as well. That I'm on as well. So, but usually my website is like the most. Well, I try to keep it as updated as I can. I'm a little bit behind on a couple things, but yeah, no, you can find me on Facebook and all those other places.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to have to go now. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, you
guys. Have a great night.
And you.
Talk
Okay.
to you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay, Xtina, I wanted to play this because you requested it. So say goodnight, Xtina.
Good night, Xtina.
I love
Spring, a time of boundless promise. The winds of change fill the air as hope blossoms boldly on the branch. And NASCAR rumbles into town. Catch the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500, the Renai 250, and the Active Pest Control 200 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Be here March 4th and 5th for the promise of a new season. Sunday tickets start at just $39, and all kids tickets are just $10. Visit amsracetix.com.